All right, can everybody hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, yeah. Matt will have to adjust this. Oh, it sounds like he's adjusted the sound up too much. Good. Can everybody hear me? No? Okay, good. All right, hopefully Matt's ready to go because he's going to record this. Hang on, Shandi's giving me messages here. Okay, can we go down just a smidge? Because it sounds like I'm right on the verge of feeding back. There we go.
Make sure everybody signs in.
Yes, did everybody sign in? No food, no drinks, unless it's water. Did everybody get that message? Okay, because otherwise Bob Prince is going to come down on you. I'm just kidding. I just said that because I know Bob's sitting there. Hang on, let me get... We've had a couple technology challenges, so hopefully we're working through those. Like I'm clicking when I walk now. Any better? How about now? Good? Okay, so, good morning. I have to talk between movements. Okay, just real quick, make sure you sign in. Restrooms are out the door to the left. Emergency exits, obviously in the rear, over here, and this sign says over there, so I'm assuming that all ends up in the same place outside. Any questions on that so far? No? Okay, so why are you here? Speak up. Somebody told you you had to be, right? Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, everybody that is here is told they had to be here, right? So you're all hostages? Okay, fair enough? Okay. It won't be very painful, I promise. 90 minutes, out the door. Nobody's going to get injured. Oh, sound. Oh, hello. Are we back? There we go. So, is everybody good with that? 90 minutes, in and out, audio difficulties and all. Okay. Couple ground rules. I told you where the restrooms are. Told you about the emergency exits. No food or drink unless it's water. The last, most important ground rule. Let me back up. Mute your phones. Everybody knows that one. The most important one is this is going to be a dialogue. We're going to have a conversation. Okay? Because if you don't participate, I can make this 3 hours long. Okay? So what do you think? Conversation? Conversation? 3 hours. Conversation, right? Okay, good. So it's going to be kind of a call and response thing. How many people were ever in choir? Okay, handful of people. So when I ask a question, somebody's got to blurt out an answer, okay? That's part of the conversation. Do you understand? Yes. Good. One person is listening so far. See? I asked a question, got an answer. All right? So, are we ready to go? Yes. Good. See, now everybody's on board. So, another technology challenge. Ready? I'll try not to scream into the mic. I'm so happy. Okay, so here's my information. I work for the Arizona County's insurance pool. I'm a loss control manager. Does everyone know what the Arizona County's insurance pool is? Yes. Does anybody else? Just 3 people? Okay. We manage work comp, liability claims, risk management, loss control, training, etc. That's why I'm here. Okay, now here's the downer moment of the presentation. Does anybody know why Doug Mule is not here? Does everybody remember Doug Mule? Doug the training guy, Dr. Doug? Okay. September 2013, Doug died. So that's my big downer moment of the class. But I have to say that because I've had people shout out in the beginning of the class, "Where's Doug?" That's a real ego boost for me. It's like we just got started. You know, so Doug was a great guy, huge heart, died way too young as far as I'm concerned. So, everybody good so far? Yes. Okay, do we have a box of tissues? No, we don't need to pass tissues around? All right. So, any questions on this information? No. Okay, my phone number and email there is at the bottom. I'll put it back up at the very end if you need to get in touch with me. If you need to get in touch with me, I will get back to you. It may not be on the same day. Fair enough? Okay. So, today, we're going to cover 3 things. Have you ever been in a class where they put up 15 or 20 performance objectives and they go through each one, and then you spend hours in class, and at the very end, you got 15 or 20 performance objectives, and you go through every single one to make sure you covered them. Have you done that? Okay, is that kind of death by PowerPoint? Yes. Can we do 3? And at the very end, we won't even have to go over them again because it'll be so obvious we covered them. Fair enough? Okay, so one small victory there. Okay, so we're going to identify types of harassment in the workplace, learn to mitigate harassment in the workplace, and gain respect for everyone in the workplace. Straightforward. Okay. So, what has changed from 20 years ago to today? Like what? Technology. Okay, what else? Office roles, meaning what? Men are secretaries. Okay. What else? Income hasn't. We haven't gotten a raise in 20 years. I've been there. Okay. What else has changed? More women in the workplace. Good. What else? Lawsuits. Somebody said something over here? We're all 20 years older? I'm not. Okay. Rights of individuals have changed, right? Okay. What did Arizona just change this year? Same-sex marriage, equality, whatever it is, I can't remember, the Arizona Equal Marriage Act, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, would anybody have ever even thought that that could happen 20 years ago? No. Maybe not even 5 years ago. Okay? So, laws have changed. People sue more, right? Because they can, the opportunity's there. Okay? But are people also more aware of their protections? So if they get wronged in the workplace, they have a way to fix that, right? And sometimes it's calling the EEOC. We would prefer you contact your human resources, okay, and try and work through it that way. And I've got a couple examples that I threw in here, and when you hear them, you're going to think, there's no way that could have happened. Oh, it happened. Okay? Feeding back again. Any better? Okay, so somebody said the very first answer was technology. How many people have smartphones? Almost everyone. Okay. How many people do not have a smartphone? How many people do not have a cell phone? No one. Everybody. 20 years ago, who had cell phones? Nobody. The rich people, and it was like 25 cents a minute or something like that. Okay. Or the boss, and it was a bag phone that plugged into the car, right? And it had a cord. Okay. Remember that? How many of you, and this is going to go for the younger kids, okay? How many of you have never had to take a phone off a wall with a cord and dial it? Not once in your entire life. Anyone? One person. Okay. One person is almost sort of brave in the back, right? Okay. Now, how many of you remember the first cordless phone? And it had the big antenna, right? And you were awesome with that as long as you stayed in that room, right? Okay. Now, what can you do with the cell phone? Almost anything, right? First thing she said, take a picture and send it anywhere. Okay. How many people use social media? Everybody. No, not everybody. My parents don't. Hey, so-and-so's doing this. I know, I saw it on Facebook. Oh. It's like, well, Mom and Dad, get with it. It's 2015, right? Okay, now, what else is out there besides Facebook? Just start naming them off. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest. What? LinkedIn, FaceTime. Keep going. There's probably 20 more we're missing. WhatsApp. Somebody said that to me. WhatsApp. I don't know. What's up? What are you talking about? No, WhatsApp. What's up? What? I don't understand the question. WhatsApp. It's an app. Oh. Okay. So, Snapchat. How many people have never heard of Snapchat? Okay. Somebody under 25, who wants to explain what Snapchat is? Nobody volunteers. You want to explain it? And you learned about it from your kids, right? That's what everybody says. Okay, so what she said, I've got a rebuttal. What she said is you can send a voice message, you can send a picture, you can send a video message, and when the person receives it, after they see it, it deletes, right? Rebuttal. Wrong. What are you saying is, oh, we got a mic now. Oh, microphone's not working. She said you could do a screenshot. So how many people know if somebody sends them a message, you can take a screenshot of it, right? Okay, so when a Snapchat comes in, you got to hold your finger on the screen to see it. Can you also take a screenshot of it? Yes. So knowing how Snapchat is designed, do you think people use it for inappropriate reasons? Yes. It's going to automatically delete on their end anyway, right? No. Okay, so now knowing that technology changes, laws change, women in the workforce change, right? Men are secretaries, et cetera, we're more diverse, we're more aware. Do we have to be concerned about that? Yes. So why are we here? Because we're concerned. Very good. Thank you. Okay? Because we have to update, right? We have to talk about what's changed. Okay? We want to protect our liabilities here, right? In Mohave County. Okay? We want to have a nice work environment. What's this? Gain respect for everyone in the workplace. Okay? So, is everybody good so far? Okay, so here we go. Are these appropriate behaviors or not? Can everybody see that? Yes, no? I'm going to have to look at this one. Repeated requests for dates? Not. What if she says yes? Then you're dating. Okay, that's how that works. Okay? Okay, how about unwanted sexual propositions? Appropriate or not? Not. Good. Gender-specific comments, sexual innuendo, and dirty jokes? Not. What if somebody says something completely innocent and then all of a sudden somebody goes, that's what he said, and everybody pauses for a second, you go, oh, I get it, because you had to think back and kind of replay the tape in your head to figure out why it was funny? Okay, would that be okay? No. How about email, internet, social media? Depends on what you're using it for, right? Okay. Everybody has a county email? Yes. Can you send inappropriate material through that? Can you send inappropriate? Yes. Should you? No. Okay, good. Okay, there's a big difference there. Okay, does anybody ever check Facebook at work? I was going to say there's only one honest person in the room. Okay. Yes, you do. Okay. You may only do it now and then. Okay. Do you forward email messages from a private email through the work email? You shouldn't, right? Okay, so we talked about that. Email, internet, social media. How about blocking, following, or stalking? Never appropriate, right? Well, sometimes. All right, let's hear about it. No, just kidding. Okay, what if the cops are following somebody? That's not stalking, right? Okay, that's surveillance. What if it's not work-related? Then it's stalking, okay? That's a problem. All right? How about suggestive gestures, movements, or sounds? No, not appropriate. All right? Touching, hugging, massaging, brushing against someone? Definitely not. I need a volunteer. Don't all jump up at once. I only need one. I don't know why everybody gets so nervous when I say touching, hugging, massaging, brushing against someone. I need a volunteer. Breaks. Anyone? Thank you. Well, you have to come up here. Otherwise, I could just shout at you. Okay, golf clap. What's your name?
Nicole.
Nicole, okay. So, would this be appropriate or not appropriate in the workplace? How are you today? You're good? Okay, how about this? Hey, when you get back from lunch later, can you meet me in the break room? I want to review the reports that you turned in earlier.
Creepy.
Okay, what's the difference? Too long? Lingering, right? Okay, how about this one? When you get back from lunch later. Can you meet me in the break room? Want to go over those reports you turned in. Okay, what's the difference?
Really creepy.
Okay, creep factor level went up, right? Okay, my intonation, I said the exact same things, but in a completely different way, right? What if I did this? Hey, good job today. People are on the fence. What if it's this? Why not? Lingering, okay? And I've closed the distance, right? From here to here, I'm much closer, right? Personal space. Anybody watch Seinfeld? Close talkers? Okay. Okay, now, what if my hand floats down her back a little bit? All the women, oh no, lots of head rolling, okay? What if, jumping ahead, did you read the, okay. What if I massage your shoulder? No. Okay, did I massage your shoulder? Answer out loud. No, I did not. Room full of witnesses, okay? So, see the difference? Okay, so we know what's appropriate and not appropriate in the workplace. And whose perception in this interaction matters? Hers, that's right. So if I'm doing something and I just don't think anything of it and she's offended, what should she tell me? No. Slapping is not the answer. Okay? She can tell me, hey, personal space, I wish you wouldn't do that. Don't put your hand on my shoulder, it makes me uncomfortable, whatever. Okay? Slapping me, kicking me, not a good response, right? Now, let's say, hypothetically, Nicole's pregnant. Okay? Do people go hands-on when somebody's pregnant in the office? Yes. Is that a little weird? Very weird, okay. Would that be appropriate? No. What if it's 5 ladies, worked in the office for 15 years together, they raise their kids together, kids play together, blah, 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 and someone's 8 months pregnant? It's obvious. Then would it be okay? Maybe. Okay. Couldn't you also ask, is the baby kicking? Yes. Can I feel? And you can always say, no. Right? Okay, and if she says yes, do you just go? No. Okay, so sometimes people forget about that pregnancy in the workplace and they start going hands-on. Does it happen in the public with strangers? Yes. Okay, so probably more inclined to happen at work, right? But you always have that personal space, right? Okay, good. Thank you. Good job. Golf clap. All right, any questions on this? Everybody's good so far? See, I'm losing you. Good. Okay, so appropriate behaviors or not. What type of harassment is this? What kind of undertone did all of those have? Sexual, good. That'll be on the quiz later. Just kidding, there's no quiz. Okay, what is harassment? Can it be these 4 things? Yes? Verbal, written, visual, physical, and nature. Yes, okay. Would this be an example of verbal harassment? There is no meaning other than what we are all thinking to that statement, right? I'm not going to ask you to be that other woman. Right? Okay, I don't have a laser pointer, but that is an actual quote taken out of case in Arizona that was litigated. Okay, so, oh, he made that up. No, I didn't make it up. There's no shock value in it. It's legit. Okay, how about this one? Written. Oh, before I hit written. Can you guys see this picture up here? Pretend my little laser pointer's working. Okay, obviously in business attire, walking down the hall, she's wearing a skirt, he's wearing slacks, and she puts her hands on his tush, right? Not appropriate, good. Now what are the guys thinking? It's about time, right? That hasn't happened to me. You know, my pants are getting tighter and tighter, nobody notices, right? Okay, what if this was a man and he did that to the woman? They switch roles. You would hear the world come to a stop for a second, right? Okay, so before this picture goes away, this would not be appropriate. Male to female, female to male, male to male, female to female, right? Okay, so written. I miss your tender lips, your soft legs, and your very hot body. Okay, appropriate, not appropriate? Not appropriate. Another case in Arizona litigated, that's a quote. Okay, so when we're talking about cell phones, email, internet, servers, network, intranet, whatever it is you have in Mohave County, would it ever be appropriate to send this to someone through those devices? No. Not workplace appropriate, not in work uniform, not work network, work property, work vehicle, nothing. Okay? What if my wife sends that to, well, that would sound kind of funny. What if I sent that to my wife? Would that be okay? Not from my work email. What if I sent it from my personal phone to her work phone? No, because I should know better than to send that to her work phone, right? Okay, good. So visual. Would this be a problem? Okay. Can you have this hanging up in the workplace anywhere? No. Okay, I'm going to get it off of there. Oh, let me back up. Okay. So, you got a girl, little Daisy Dukes, blue jeans, shorts, stockings, whatever, right? So, can you have that on your screensaver, your wallpaper, in your locker room, in the cabinet of your work truck, in your toolbox, anything like that? No. What if it was a fireman and he didn't have a shirt on? Some of the women are like, well, yeah. No. Okay, it goes both ways. No beefcake calendars. No girls wearing next to nothing, right? Okay. You know why the guys don't want to see the firefighters hanging up in the office? Yeah, because nobody asks us to be in the calendar. That's why. Okay. So that would never be appropriate, right? Okay. How about this? Physical? What if it's retraining? No? Okay, again, this is a female putting her hands on a male, putting his head on the keyboard, right? What if a male did that to a female in the office? Earth coming to a stop again, right? Okay, so are we clear on those 4 things? Yes? Okay, here we go. Does this include social media? Yes. So even forwarding that picture or a joke or this funny picture or whatever would not be appropriate in the workplace, right? Right. All right, there's the answer, yes. Terms to know, quid pro quo. What does that mean? This for that, good. And we'll talk about what that means soon too. How about hostile work environment? Is that pretty clear? No. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. Okay, so we'll define that a little bit more, right? Oops, wrong button. There we go. This for that. So, quid pro quo, here's a few examples. Let's say somebody's threatened with a loss of his or her job. What could they be rewarded with? Promotion or continued employment? Not demotion. There's not really a good way to say that, right? Okay, how about threatened with demotion, rewarded with maybe promotion, right? Okay, how about transfer? You can stay put, right? Or job training opportunities? Okay, who gets to decide who attends training? The supervisor, right? Because otherwise, you'd never see me. I'd always be in training, right? Okay, until they say, hey, we've been looking at your credit card statements, and you can't keep going to these trainings every other week, right? Okay, poor job evaluation, rewarded with better, which could result in a raise, right? Can you get a raise with a horrible job evaluation? Okay, so we've got some disagreements. Okay, so if your raise is contingent upon a good performance evaluation, you would not, right? Okay. Are annual evaluations required? Is everybody getting them every 12 months or whatever the required timeline is? Right. Okay. And if you've got disciplinary action, you've got a whole bunch of needs improvements and things, are you going to get a raise? No. Probably not. You may get a work plan, an opportunity to fix some of those things, right? Okay, so now in this example, this is intentionally set up that way. This is a supervisor-subordinate relationship. Okay? Does it always have to be a supervisor-subordinate relationship to be quid pro quo? No. Could let's say you have department managers. Could one over finance and one over property have some kind of arrangement? If you go out with me, I will support your funding request to the board for X amount of whatever grant. If you go out with me, I will support your request to the board to purchase X amount of new vehicles for a fleet. And if you don't, would that be an exchange? This for that? Yes, good. I'll try and drink quiet. All right, so reasonable person standard. Would a reasonable person consider the behavior out of bounds? If Nicole and I reenacted that to a jury of our peers, which you would be, right? At some point, everyone agrees that the behavior got out of bounds, right? Okay. And would you also agree that that attention would interfere with her and our future working relationship? Yes, especially if my hand floated down her back or I was massaging her shoulder. So the next time I catch her and she's in the break room or something like that, hey, when you get back from lunch, can I talk to you about those reports? Where are you going? Do you think she would try and avoid me? Yes. Okay. So that's a very basic thing. So hostile work environment. How's this going? Not well for who? I need my laser. So, it's not going well for who? Her. Why? Okay. He's got her blocked against the filing cabinet, right? Or the file shelves, whatever, with all the boxes in the file room. Okay? Why is that not going well? What is her body language? Defensive, right? Okay, now, what if she drops the folders and starts kissing him? Not so defensive. Very good. Okay? Still okay in the workplace or not okay in the workplace? Not okay in the workplace. What is he saying? All right. Okay? I keep getting distracted at his hair. And it's like, man, if I had that head of hair, I wouldn't have time to harass anybody in the workplace. I'd just sit at my desk and comb it all day. Okay? So, does this look wanted or welcome or unwelcome? Okay, step number 1 must be unwelcome. Fair enough? Okay. Step 2, persistent or widespread. What does that mean? Okay, somebody else over here? Repeated. Okay, so you guys are going to be my guinea pigs now. So let's say it's me and I'm awesome head of hair guy, right? Okay, if he does it with you one time, is that a hostile work environment? Yes. Not necessarily. Okay, and we'll flesh that out a little bit, all right? If I did it 10 times, yes, especially if she, saying no, no, no repeatedly, please don't do that, etc., etc., okay? What if I do it to her once? No big whoop, right? But then I did it to you, and then I did it to you, I did it to you, and you, and you, and even you. Widespread, okay? That's a problem. I'm a serial asker-outer, or whatever you would say that, right? Okay, harasser. Okay, so that's the difference. The legal definition is severe or pervasive. Same thing. Now, I will give you the difference. One time, not necessarily. One time, what I do could be so egregious that it gets me terminated, right? We had that. We had an employee years ago who went hands-on with a female employee, male to female, twice in the same shift. 1, what were you thinking? 2, you did it twice? Okay, so if I did something and let's say, there's no other better way to say this. Let's say I groped someone in the workplace. Would that be okay? Absolutely not. Okay, so persistent or widespread at that point is irrelevant. Come on, clicker. Okay, severe enough to interfere with job performance. If I asked her out one time and it never happens again, is that going to interfere with our working relationship? Probably not. If I ask out everybody, would that? Perhaps. If I ask her out 10 times, is that going to interfere? Yes. If I do something so egregious, is that going to interfere with our work? Yes. Okay. So we good so far? Yes. Okay. And based on victim's protected status. In this exchange between her and I, what is her protected status? Female. Okay? Does everybody understand that? If not, that's okay. So, what are some other protected classes? Just start naming them off. Gender, sex, age, religion, race, disability. Keep going. Okay, so we're getting most of them, but there's a reason a couple of those always come up, and that's good. Come on, clicker, keep up with me. Okay, race, color, religion, sex, including pregnancy. That's new, right? National origin, age 40 or older, disability. Everybody agree with those? There's one missing. What do you think it is? Not sexual preference. You know why everybody says that? Because we would not be surprised at all if tomorrow all of a sudden it became a protected class, right? Just like same-sex marriage in Arizona, 20 years ago we would have thought it never happened. Now, yeah, okay. The law's changed, right? So, what do you think it is? Any HR folks want to chime in? They always ruin this for me. Come on. No. All right. Genetic information. Everybody say what? GINA, Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act. Does everybody know what that means? Good, we'll move on. Okay, genetic information. Information about an individual's genetic tests of an individual's family members, information about the manifestation of a disease or disorder in a family member, family medical history, increased risk of getting a disease, disorder, or condition in the future. Clear as mud now, right? Okay, no. You know what happens when we don't understand? We give examples. One individual was screened and learned he was a carrier of a single mutation for a disease. His carrier status indicates he might pass this to his children, but not that he would develop the disease. Who cares, right? Fair enough. Does anybody care? No. He revealed this information when applying for a job and was denied the job because of his genetic mutation, even though it had no bearing on his present or future ability to perform the job. Is that a problem? Absolutely. If it's irrelevant to the job class, the minimum job specification, whatever it is, why would you deny someone employment based on that? You wouldn't, because it's against the law. Fair enough? Okay, here's another one. 53-year-old man in a job interview with an insurance company revealed he had a genetic disorder but wasn't having symptoms. During the second interview, he was told the company was interested in hiring him but would not be able to offer him health insurance because of his condition. He agreed to this arrangement. Would you have agreed to that arrangement? No. Two primary reasons people work for three. One, it's awesome. That's why we work for the government, right? Right. Pension, health insurance. If somebody says, Nicole, we'd like to hire you, but, you've got a genetic condition, and so we're not going to give you health insurance. You cool with that? No. Okay. During the third interview, the company representative told him they would like to hire him, but now would not because of his genetic condition. Is that a problem? Yes. Well, that's a secondary issue. Okay, so do you think this person has a claim? Yes. Okay, last one. This one's a long one. An employee's parent developed Huntington's disease, indicating the employee had a 50% chance of inheriting a gene that would cause her to develop the disease. She decided to be tested. A genetic counselor advised her to secure life and health insurance before testing, because a positive test result would not only mean she would get the disease, but would probably prevent her from obtaining insurance as well. Was that good advice from the genetic counselor? Yes. Okay. You got a pre-existing condition, potentially, you better get life insurance before it, right? Supplemental life. Okay? Can a supplemental life insurance company deny you insurance coverage if you're a really huge risk to them? Yes. Okay? So, a coworker who overheard her making arrangements to be tested reported the employee's conversations to their boss. Initially, the boss seemed empathetic and offered to help. When the employee eventually shared the news that her test results indicated she did carry the mutated gene, she was fired from her job. Is that a problem? Huge problem. It gets worse. In the 8-month period prior to her termination, she received 3 promotions and outstanding performance reviews. Is that a problem? Yes. Okay. The story continues. She has 3 siblings who all carry the same 50-50 chance of whether or not they've already inherited the gene. They all refuse to be tested because they're in fear of potentially losing their job if their employer finds out. Why are they concerned? Because it happened to their sister. How would you like to be the one responsible for putting those 3 siblings in that dilemma of knowing, not knowing? Not good, right? Okay, so my personal opinion on this is if you incidentally overhear someone talking about a personal medical issue, that's nobody's business but their own. Unless they are drunk and stumbling and about to get in a piece of heavy equipment, that would be a separate issue, right? Okay. All right, effects of harassment on employees. What might some of those be? Okay. Good. Hitting your boss. Okay. That never happens, right? Okay. What are some others?
Depression, suicide.
Wow. Go right to the end of the list there. Bam. Okay. There's a spectrum. He's over here. Okay. But that's true, right? Okay. So let's throw a few up here. Okay. Distrust, pain, agitation, isolation, negativity, fear, sarcasm, dark humor, lower job satisfaction. Did we cover it? Okay, hang on. Got to get the laser. We'll go over here. Can agitation lead to other issues? Yes. Do people act out at work sometimes? Yes. Okay, if somebody acts out at work, perhaps other people get in fear? Yes. You got a negative attitude toward work, does that lead to increased use of sick time? Yes. Perhaps, okay? So see how one or many of these can build on each other? Okay, and could they lead to depression and potentially suicide? Yes. Or a homicide. True story, okay? What? Or a lawsuit. Sorry, somebody over here? Poor morale, okay, good. So, does anybody have any questions on these? Okay, are there others? I'm sure. Can we possibly get them all on one slide? No. Okay, now, here's part of our technology issue. I got to get out of here and play it from the desktop. That's not it.
Hello there.
Stan, hey, thanks for coming by.
Sure.
Can I get you a coffee or anything?
No, thanks, I'm fine.
Oh, okay. Hey, have a seat,
Thanks.
please. I really appreciate this. And I could have come to your branch instead if...
No, this worked out fine. I had a meeting in the area. So, how's the family, Ralph?
Oh, great. Sally just started first grade.
Is that right? Oh, that's wonderful. My youngest just graduated from college
Oh, my
last
goodness.
year, so it goes by fast.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So, what can I do for you?
Well, I didn't want to get into it over the phone, but I've had some personnel issues, and I wanted to talk to you because you're always so helpful to me.
What's the problem?
Well, a few weeks ago, one of our sales assistants filed sexual harassment charges against one of our FCs. It's been a real headache.
What happened?
Well, it's kind of complicated. It all began a few months ago with one of his clients.
Mr. Sprouse, Tom will be right out. Can I get you anything?
That's okay. I'll just wait here and admire the scenery.
Bert, thanks for coming down. How you been?
Can't complain, Tom. I see you finally got yourself a new girl.
That's right. Wendy came aboard last month.
Well, she's in the right business because she certainly has some fine assets.
Excuse me, Tom, do you have a moment?
Yeah?
I wanted to talk to you about Mr. Sprouse. I mean, the way he talked about me.
Oh, don't worry about Bert. He's harmless. Hello? Hey, Phil. Can you hold on just one sec? Wendy, I gotta take this call.
Tom, what he said really insulted me.
Look, Wendy, he's got a $2 million account with us, so just ignore him, okay? Hey, Phil. Yeah, I got the order.
June, I mean,
I think Wendy would have let this incident pass if there hadn't been other problems between her and Tom.
This is the last one.
Yep, that's it. Nice. All right, excellent work.
Thanks. No problem.
You feel like getting something to eat?
No, thanks. I gotta get back home.
Oh, come on. After all this hard work, least you can do is let me buy you some dinner.
Really, I have to get back. Maybe some other time.
Sure. You know, Wendy, you've really been doing a great job.
Thanks, Tom.
It's funny, since you've been here, I feel better about myself. I've not had a lot to feel good about since my divorce.
I don't know what to say. I'm sorry about your divorce.
Well, you sure I can't interest you in some dinner?
Yeah, really, I have to get back. My boyfriend is expecting me.
Oh, I understand. Sure.
Well, good night.
Uh-huh.
A few days after that, Tom blew up at her.
Wendy,
Yes, what's the matter?
did you open the Greenberg account?
No, I had to...
What have you been doing? It's been 3 hours.
I thought I could...
Do me a favor, okay? Don't think. If there's something you don't understand, you come to me, you ask me. You got it?
Yes, but
No,
I've
no,
only
no
been
buts.
trying...
Just do what I tell you to do. All right?
Tom, I want to talk to you about what happened earlier.
Don't worry, I straightened it out with the client.
That's not what I meant. I'm very upset about the way you spoke to me. It was very embarrassing.
Wendy, you took all morning to open the account.
There were 2 other accounts to open, and all the computers were down.
Why didn't you tell me?
You didn't give me a chance.
Okay, maybe I overreacted a little, and I'm sorry. But, you know, Wendy, I think a lot of the problem here has to do with your attitude.
My attitude.
Yeah, I think you could be a little more positive about your job.
I think I've been very positive about my job. It's just hard to stay positive when you scream at me in front of everyone.
Wendy, do you want the job to work out, or don't you?
I've been trying to make the job work out. I just don't know what you want from me.
All I'm saying is, you could try to be a little friendlier. This is a people business.
I think that I've been very polite, and I've tried to be professional.
You've got to learn to relax. Look, maybe you and we got off on the wrong foot. Why don't we discuss it tonight over drinks?
You want to have drinks?
Yeah, we can talk about your future here.
What?
So did you have drinks with him?
Of course not.
Well, maybe he was just trying to bury the hatchet.
Ralph, he was touching me and telling me that my future here depended on my being friendlier. Isn't that obvious enough?
All right. Let me talk to Tom. I want to hear his version.
His version?
I just want to make sure that you didn't misunderstand his intentions. Wendy, don't worry. I'm sure that we can straighten this out.
She said that?
Tom, these are serious allegations.
She's lying. That's not what this is about.
Well, what is this about?
She couldn't handle the pressure. She knew that I wanted to let her go, so she cooked up this harassment charge.
Whoa, you wanted me to fire her? Well, why am I only hearing about this now?
Hey, I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. But after this, I want her gone. I mean today.
So what happened?
Well, right after that, Wendy filed a complaint with our Human Resources Department, and they came into the branch and conducted an investigation. She now works for someone else in the branch, and Tom got a written warning. What, you think I should have handled it differently?
I'm not sure. What would you do differently if you had to do it again?
All right, are we back on? Okay, so we're going to follow up at that very last statement there. What would you do differently if you had to do it all over again? But what was the first thing that really bothered you about that? Dirty old man. Jeez. Come right out and say it. Now, careful, if he's over 40, that's protected class. Okay, good. So Bert Sprouse comes in, and what does he say? Like the scenery. She got the right assets. It's a bank, right? That's bank humor. No? Okay. And what does he say to Tom? No, Stan. Jeez, I can't remember the guy's name. The manager. Her boss. Okay, right assets. Scenery. Then he says, I see you have a new girl. How many people watch Mad Men? I'm the only one ever. Come on. Netflix. There's like 6 seasons now. Okay? Mad Men, early 1960s, advertising agency, New York City. Almost exclusively male executive staff, very exclusively female secretarial staff, right? For all those people that didn't raise their hand, right? Yes. And what do they refer to all the secretaries as? Girl. My girl, your girl, have your girl contact my girl, where's your girl? Okay? Do we do that now in the workplace? No. What if somebody says boy? So, Tom, I see you got yourself a new boy. Wouldn't we all go, that's the dumbest thing ever, right? So why would we say girl, right? We wouldn't. Okay? Now, taking into account Bert's age and her age, do you think there are a couple generation gaps there? Yes. What he thought was okay 40 years ago in the workplace, is that okay in the workplace now? No. Do we all know that? Yes. Okay. Maybe Bert doesn't. Is the boss going to say anything to him? No. Why? $2 million account. Okay. So then what happens? Okay. Where are they? The file room. Everything bad happens in the file room. Okay. The very beginning, the blonde-headed guy. Okay. File room. Okay. There should be a rule. This is Kurt's rule. One person in the file room at a time. Houston, there we go. Okay, so what does he say? Oh, before that. This is really excellent work. You've been doing such a great job. The least I can do is buy you dinner. Are you sure you don't want to get a bite to eat? No, no, thank you, no. 3 times. And what does she finally say? Boyfriend. She throws the boyfriend card. Do anything to get out of that file room, right? What does he do with his hand? Puts it on her back, right? Kind of like an example. What if my hand floated down her back? No, no, right? Never happens. Should never happen, right? Okay, so then what happens? A few days later, He's ticked off. She's sitting at her desk. Yeah, he comes out and yells at her. And there's a girl, the next desk behind her. See, I just said girl. Okay. So, and she looks up and is probably like, yeah, he used to yell at me like that. Okay. So then she goes into his office and says, I'd like to talk to you about the way you spoke to me earlier. What does he say? Don't worry, I fixed it with the client. No, that's not what I'm talking about, right? I didn't appreciate it. It was embarrassing. Well, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Maybe we should discuss it over drinks. And he puts his hand on her hand, right? We can talk about your future. What do you think? Quid pro quo? Yes. He does it twice there. Do you want this job to work out or not? Pretty clear, right? So what does she do? She goes to HR, files a complaint. HR comes in and does a full investigation. Okay, well, now I'm trying to get the names right. Tom's the boss. Stan is the bigger boss, I think. Okay, he comes in. Tom, these are serious allegations. She said that? What? She can't handle it. I want her gone. I want her gone today. She trumped up these charges. Okay, so ultimately what happens? Well, he lied, but ultimately what happens? She moves to another division, branch, whatever. Okay. I'm sorry? After, right. So once HR comes in and does the investigation, she gets moved to another branch manager or whatever it is in their industry. And what happens to him? Written warning. Okay, so going back to the last thing when Stan's boss, can't remember his name, says, if you had to do it all over again, what would you have done differently? If you were Stan, Tom's boss, what would you have done differently? Anything? Involve HR sooner. At least make the call. Hey, this is what I've got going on. What do you think? Okay. Who is kind of the clearinghouse for all the complaints, disciplinary claims, things like that? Is it HR? Okay. If you're in facilities, could this might have happened in finance just 2 months earlier? Yes. And do you think HR might have a better way of handling it if you've never done this before? Certainly. Okay. Any questions on that video? I'm sorry? When she went to who? When she went to Tom and says, hey, I didn't appreciate the way you spoke to me. If I was her, I would have written it down. She may have wanted to put in a call and say, hey, this is what happened. And HR might have just gone and talked to Tom, essentially what Stan did. Okay. Well, therein lies the problem. If nothing's ever been written up and he gets a written warning this time, what has he got in the last 5 years when he's harassed other girls? Maybe nothing. We don't know, right? And if you don't write him up this time, what happens 2 years from now when he does the exact same thing? Okay? Everybody knows what progressive discipline is, right? Okay. Answer your question? Okay. I'm sorry, say it again. What about the girl who doesn't want to lose her job so she doesn't say anything? Okay. Do you have a policy that prohibits retaliation? Yes. Okay. Okay. And do we go through HR? Yes. So I'm confused. So people still refuse to report it because they're in fear of retaliation. Okay. All right. Well, when we summarize this, I think I'm going to drive that point home. So give me a few minutes. Come on, clicker. Oh, hang on. Got to turn it on. Now I think my mic just went out. There we go. All right. So effects of harassment on the employer. We talked about effects of harassment on the employee. What are the effects of harassment on the employer? Okay, turnover, lawsuits, lost productivity, morale, reputation. You guys read ahead on the notes. There aren't any notes, I'm just saying that. Okay, decreased productivity, lowers morale, increased turnover, jeopardizes credibility in the community. Are those all costs that are really hard to calculate? Yes. Okay, the toughest one up there, hang on, you gotta switch clickers. Jeopardizes credibility in the community. What happens if something happens in your county that hits the headlines 2 months before a big bond election or something? Everybody knows about it. Are they super supportive of Mohave County all of a sudden? Probably not. Is that going to hurt you? Potentially. Okay? So these things are very difficult to manage. Productivity is a cost. Morale is a cost. Turnover is a huge cost. Credibility in the community, how long does it take to recover that? Maybe forever. Maybe a generation, right, of people working out of the workforce, people working out of the community before they forget that that happened. That's possible. The bottom there, harassment is about deciding to treat people respectfully or not. Are we all capable of doing that? Yes. All right, so supervisor errors. Do supervisors ever make mistakes? There's none on the slide. So we can't just agree and move on that one? No. Okay, so poor documentation, training, disciplinary, or complementary. Do supervisors have to do a lot of documentation? Yes. Do supervisors do all the training in the county? No. Peers do it, right? Let's say a driver 2 trains a driver 1. I don't know if that's a real position or not. Okay, secretary 2 trains a secretary 1. Whatever. Okay? So, training documentation not only falls back on the supervisor to make sure it gets done, it falls back on the person doing the training, right? And in the future, if somebody kind of falls off the tracks a little bit, and we have to go back and do some kind of performance management and document a disciplinary action, do they have to refer back to the training documentation to make sure they got trained? Because the first thing an employee is going to say is, you never trained me. And you go back and open the folder, we never trained them. That's why we have to document that, right? Okay, disciplinary. Who's a good resource to reach out to if you have questions on disciplinary? HR, okay? You think they might have done this once before? Probably, okay? How about complementary? What does that mean? Highlighting successes? Be positive. Has anybody ever gotten an attaboy letter or an attagirl letter? Yes? Okay. How long does it take as a supervisor to type out a memo or go tell someone, hey, good job? Not very long. Do you think it means a lot to the person, the employee that gets it? Yes. How many people have ever gotten like a complimentary handwritten note or something like that from a supervisor? Come on, there should be a lot more people than that, okay? How many supervisors have gone out of their way to do that? Therein lies the problem. There should be a lot more people raising their hand, right? Okay. You know what I did anytime I got a handwritten note? Photocopy personnel file. Why not, right? Somebody's going to give me kudos. I want a record of it. Okay? Because when I go for promotion or something like that, and they review my file, I want those stacks of attaboys and a couple disciplinary letters thrown in there to balance out a little bit, don't I? Okay. So, sexualized workplace or culture. Do supervisors allow this to go on? Should not. Is it possible it's going on and the supervisor doesn't know? Yes. Okay. There is an issue where the supervisor needs to go out and walk among the troops. Find out what's going on, right? Keep in touch. Policy and procedures, differential or non-enforcement of policy. Does sometimes a supervisor treat one employee different than another? Yes. There may be a completely legitimate reason for that. So let's not always make the assumption that there's some, ill-intended, kind of underground whatever's going on. There may be a reason for it. And do we always get to know what that is? No. Inappropriate relationship, supervisor subordinate. Does this ever happen? Should it ever happen? No. You know why? Because there's a policy, no one falls in love. Okay? Love is canceled. Dating is canceled. No? There's no policy against that, right? So, take a journey with me. Supervisor subordinate. Let's say that she, the supervisor, is dating he, the subordinate. Everything's hunky-dory. 2 years later, they break up. Hypothetically, of course, because all the relationships in the workplace always last forever. Okay? How does his, the subordinate's, evaluation look? Glowing, right? He's awesome. He's a high performer. Every time I came home, the dishes were done, right? No, okay? It's not likely going to look like that. Should we ever have a supervisor subordinate in a relationship? Do you have a county policy against it? Yes, okay? Now, let's say, I can talk about the jail because it's a real clear, paramilitary rank structure. Let's say a sergeant is dating a deputy. What is a solution to keep those two from being in that supervisor-subordinate relationship? What do we do? Move one to a different shift maybe, right? Could we do that? Yes. Okay, so that's one solution. So we need to be real careful that these things aren't occurring in the workplace, and if they do, because people fall in love, that we take some kind of action to prevent that from interfering in the workplace. Okay. How about non-employee related issues, customers, victims, witnesses, vendors, other agencies? Do we have issues there? Okay, Bert Sprouse. Okay, he's an outsider coming into the bank. Who's responsible to protect the employee? What's the employee's name? Very beginning. Wendy, thank you. Okay. Is Tom responsible to protect Wendy from the Bert Sprouses of the world? Yes. Did he? No. All right. Oh. Technology jump.
I tell you, this job is giving me headaches.
Harassment issues can be a very difficult thing to deal with.
Why should I have to deal with it? People should know how to behave.
Ralph, people don't always know.
Oh.
Look, your job is to make sure your employees are comfortable and productive. You need to deal with it.
But I didn't sign up for this. I hate this stuff. And to tell you the truth, I'm thinking about going back to being an FC.
Ralph, I always thought that you would make a great branch manager. And from what I've heard about you, I've been right.
Oh, come on, really?
Yes.
Well, I don't think anybody's happy with me here.
Being a branch manager is not a popularity contest. I've had many personnel problems myself, believe me.
Not like this, you didn't.
As a matter of fact, I did.
Really? What happened?
Well, it started with a complaint from an FCA.
Hey, Paul, get this.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a woman and a beer?
I don't know.
A beer doesn't drive you to drink. Oh, you can have more than one beer in a night and not feel guilty. These are great. You don't need a license to live with a beer.
Guys.
Oh, you don't have to say you respect beer in the morning.
Hey, guys. Do you mind? I'm trying to get some work done here.
Lighten up, Jane. I mean, these are funny.
No, it's not funny. It's insulting.
Oh, sensitive. These are great, this guy.
Shortly afterwards, I monitored some of Ed's emails. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.
What's up, Stan?
Ed, Paul, I called you in because I want to make sure you understand our email policies.
Sure, go ahead.
First of all, you should not be exchanging anything with clients or coworkers that is potentially offensive. And that goes for web links, jokes, and photos.
Well, why are you telling us this? Did somebody say something, or?
No. I've been reviewing your email.
What? You've been reading my email?
That's my job, Ed. I'm supposed to monitor correspondence, and that includes email.
But that's private stuff.
Not at work. Look, I sent out 3 memos about this already.
I didn't get any memos. Paul, do you remember getting a memo, or?
Yeah, actually I do.
Email can be copied and distributed, and that's a concern, especially if it's offensive to someone.
Yeah, but my clients like jokes, okay? I can't keep them from sending me things.
Actually, Ed, you can. Just tell them that your branch manager reads your email and won't tolerate any non-business correspondence on company equipment. Is that clear?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Good.
So did they listen to you?
Yes and no. I think Paul was glad that I set down the ground rules. Unfortunately, Ed thought he could get around the ground rules by using his laptop at work. One day, someone sent him an email with a web link to a porn site.
Whoa, Paul, check this out. Take a look at that.
Whoa, Ed, I don't think that's okay.
Well,
Hey, guys. Can you review these?
Hey, Jane. Take a look at this. Mud wrestling.
Excuse me. That's inappropriate.
what's her problem? Whoa, check out that one.
Ed, I think you better turn this off. You remember what Stan said.
Oh, no, relax. This is my computer. Look at this.
That's when Jane came to see me. I had another conversation with Ed and Paul. Perhaps I didn't make myself clear the last time.
I was using my laptop.
It doesn't matter. You're at work. Jane wanted to file a sexual harassment complaint with HR. Apparently, this hasn't been the first time she's felt offended by you two.
I didn't even know it was a porn site until I opened it up.
Well, then don't open up any unknown web links. This is serious, Ed. You and Paul could get fined or terminated for something like this, especially if you've had a prior warning. I'm going to say this one more time. No more inappropriate materials in the office. Is that clear?
Absolutely.
It's fine.
All right, now hold on a minute. I'm going to ask Jane to come in here so that you can apologize to her. Don't you think that's a good idea?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I guess.
Now we're back. Okay, so what was the first issue with that one? Jokes, right? Ed and Paul telling jokes. They're dumb jokes at that, right? Okay, would that ever be appropriate in the workplace? No, they shouldn't be telling jokes, right? What does Jane say? Knock it off. It's not appropriate. I'm trying to get some work done here. What is, I think it's Ed. What does Ed say? Lighten up, Jane, right? Okay, so then what happens? Anything? Okay, the boss is monitoring their emails, right? Which the boss is supposed to do, right? Because he's the boss. Okay? I'm sorry, go ahead. Gave them a verbal. Can't speak now. Okay, so does Mohave County have the opportunity, the technology to monitor your stuff? Okay? Internet, intranet, email, whatever. Do you guys have windows where you can instant chat with someone in another office? Okay. Do they archive all that stuff? Yes. Okay. Is that your private stuff? No. Okay, good. So, he warns them. He doesn't even know about the beer jokes with Jane yet, does he? He just happened to tell him, knock it off. No more inappropriate stuff on company equipment. What is that here? Company equipment. Ding. Okay, solution. Bring laptop to work, right? So he brings a laptop to work, and what is he doing? He opens up a porn link. Well, I didn't know what it was. When it says www.porn, that's a clue. Okay? Don't open those links. Okay? So, then what happens? Yeah, he shows Paul first, right? Hey, Paul, check this out. Ed is not the brightest guy, okay? Whoops. All right, so what does Paul say? It's not appropriate. You remember what? Is it Stan? See, I got Stan mixed up with the other guy, okay? You remember what Stan said? We can't do this work. No, it's okay. It's my laptop. Bam. Whose email is he using? Works. Is he probably also using their, Cat 6 cable or whatever, and their internet, Wi-Fi, whatever, okay? Never at work. Not on duty, not in uniform, not in county equipment, county intranet, uniform, vehicle, time, anything. It's not appropriate, right? Okay, so then Jane walks up. Get out, right? Okay, so what could Paul have done differently when Ed was telling jokes? Could have walked away. What could Paul have done differently when Ed was showing him porn on a laptop? Could have closed the laptop and walked away, right? Okay, could we have potentially avoided the exposure with Jane? Yes. What kind of disciplinary did he get when he called him in and talked to him about the email access? Verbal. What did he get at the end of the porn issue? Verbal, okay? Do you think you would write him up? Yes. Some people are like, fire him. Depending, can one employee do one thing, one time that is so egregious that they get terminated? Yes. Okay, so maybe not. Maybe progressive discipline. But had he given them a written warning for the email issues, forwarding jokes and whatnot, and then another warning later, and then the porn issue comes up, who knows? Maybe termination, right? Okay, so any questions on that one? I'm clicking and popping like it's cool. It's not cool. Usually it's my knees. Okay, supervisor's responsibility. Immediately take action. Did the supervisor take action? Yes. Okay. Can we clean up employee language? Yes. Can we all do that? Yes. Okay. Can we elevate our own performance and conduct? Yes. Okay. Can we pay attention to inappropriate behavior? Beer jokes. Okay. Not appropriate at work. How many of you came in here and you've been to this class 20 times in 25 years and you all said, man, by after this class, I'm going to be really good at this sexual harassment stuff? Come on, I know at least one person said it and they're not going to raise their hand, right? Okay. Can we all stop doing that? Yes. It's pretty simple. How about follow and apply county policy? Yes. Do we have anybody in here that's still on probation? One person? Two people? Okay. Everybody that's off probation, can you follow and apply county policy? Otherwise, you would have never gotten off probation, right? You two who are still on the bubble. I'm just kidding. Okay. Keep doing what you're doing. You'll be fine. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
I think not only should we must be
Yes, elevate your own performance and conduct, and that sets the standard for everyone else. Because not everybody's going to know, right, when they come in. Who models the behavior? The current employees, right? Okay. How many people are coming back for the afternoon class? Wow. It's different than this. I'm not repeating this one. Okay, a handful, and we will talk specifically about modeling that behavior. Okay? So, constructive discharge occurs when an employee resigns because the employer's behavior has become so intolerable or heinous or made life so difficult that the employee has no choice but to resign. Make sense? Has anybody ever left a job because it's just been miserable to work there? Yeah, a handful of people. Is there ways that we can prevent that? We talked about how much employee turnover costs us. Could we be saving money if we had a better workplace? Yes. Retaliatory discharge is a result of an employer punishing an employee for engaging in activities protected by law. Employees must prove that they were engaged in protected activity, were subsequently discharged, and that a causal connection exists between their activity and this discharge, such as filing an EEOC claim, such as filing a claim by county policy, my supervisor is harassing me in the workplace. And if they retaliate and you end up leaving the workplace, that could be a retaliatory discharge claim. Okay? Make sense? All right. Handling harassment. Okay, you guys excited? We're on the downhill, coming up to the big finale. Okay? What to do if you've been harassed, seen harassment, or harassed someone yourself. If you've experienced harassment, if comfortable, take action and inform the offender. Why does it say if comfortable? Some people aren't comfortable. What if it's the supervisor that's doing the harassing? Okay? So the alternative is, if you can't report it to the supervisor, because they're the one, and you don't feel comfortable telling them to stop, who do you go to? HR. Bottom of the slide, right? What does it say? Report to supervisor or HR. Okay. If you've witnessed harassment, address your concerns. Help them to understand it could be harassment. Report to supervisor of human resources. How long have you guys worked together? 6 years? Is one of you the supervisor or not supervisor? Okay, so if he tells a dirty joke and you're offended, can you tell him to knock it off? Sure. If he tells a dirty joke to that guy, can you tell him to knock it off? Sure. And can you approach him and say, you know, when he tells you dirty jokes, that's not appropriate in the workplace. You should say something. Sure. And he could say, you know what? That guy's been telling dirty jokes for 35 years. You haven't been telling them for 35 years, right? 36? Okay. Okay, so you can address your concerns, help someone else that might be a victim that you just witnessed get harassed, you know, and then report to supervisor of human resources. Have you harassed someone? Question? No, absolutely. Absolutely. Bullying, all kinds of things. Yes. Okay, have you harassed someone? Apologize to the person you may have offended in a timely manner. Be careful not to repeat the behavior. Okay? Will you be my victim for just a second? Sure. You don't have to do anything but sit there. And you're not going to get hurt, I promise. Okay, so I tell a dirty joke in the workplace. I apologize, I told a dirty joke in the workplace. I'm sorry. 2 days later, I apologize, I told another dirty joke. Sorry. 2 days later, sorry, I've got this issue with telling dirty jokes in the workplace. Probably going to happen again. Sorry. Do you think he believes anything I have to say ever? Okay, even if it's important work-related stuff. That guy's so full of it. I don't believe anything he says anymore, right? Okay, so that's important. Be careful not to repeat the behavior, right? Zero tolerance. Okay, use your filters. What are filters? Anyone? Think before you speak. Very good. You read ahead. Okay? So sometimes I'll say, are there air filters in this room? And you see the facilities guys going, maybe, maybe not. Of course there are air filters in the room, right? What do? They get all the impurities out before they come into the air they're all breathing. Okay, so we have filters, right? And we should be filtering out what we say. Is that a filter? What would Grandma say? Pa-pow, right? All right. So what else are filters? Is that a filter? No, if you can drive a car through it, you don't have a filter. How about this? Is this a little better? How about this one? Is this a little better? Yes. It needs to strain all that stuff out. Can filters help reduce harassment claims? Yes. If we all operate with our filters operating at 100% all the time, can we reduce claims? Yes. Okay. Sorry? How do you mean? By not being able to joke about anything? Sure. But you can find things to joke about in the workplace, right? That aren't inappropriate, aren't offensive. Okay? My favorites, Dilbert cartoons. Okay? Read a Dilbert cartoon. They're so work appropriate to me. Okay? But they don't use foul language. They're not sexual harassment or anything like that. Okay? So, what is this a picture of? Can you see it? Grand Canyon. Right? Okay. How high up are we when this photograph was taken? Pretty high? Like in the atmosphere, probably? Okay. So that is a big canyon if you can see it from space. True story? Okay. If we know it's there, how do people fall in that canyon every year? Okay. People actually do fall in that canyon every year. Okay? And some people jump in that canyon every year. Okay? So if we know it's there, help me understand why people fall in. They don't use common sense. Okay? The same reason we're in this class. We need to be reminded, don't step over the rail. Right? Don't get off the trail. Okay? So if this canyon, see if I got my clicker working here. If this canyon here is sexual harassment, hostile work environment, bullying, etc., 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 and you know all the things you need to do to keep from falling in that canyon, why do we fall in the canyon? We forget. We operate without our filters on. We forget. Laws change. Okay? You have a bad day. Okay? Can you correct it? Yes. Okay? Unless it's that one egregious event. Okay, now, if you and your crew, squad, shift, whatever, operating out here on the plateau on the left, is that pretty safe? Yes. And let's say somebody starts to straggle and get too close to the edge, moving from the left to right. What is our responsibility? Protect them. Pull them back, right? Yeah. Inevitably, somebody's pushing them is not the answer. Okay? Now, when we talked about that one employee that could do one thing one time so egregious that they terminate their career, can somebody operating out here with their crew in the open plateau on the left take a flying leap off the canyon? And we can't save them, right? Okay. So, if we know all those things, why do we keep getting in trouble there? Okay, how to set boundaries. Communicate expectations for interactions. Set an example with your own behavior. Communicate discomfort early on. Seek assistance, supervisor or HR. Any questions there? You sure? Okay. What to say? Identify the behavior, tell the person how that behavior makes you feel and why. Ask for the behavior to stop. Let's say he tells a dirty joke and I'm offended. Can I approach him and tell him to stop? Yes. When you tell dirty jokes at work, especially about, let's say, veterans, that offends me because my follower is a veteran. Can you please stop? Is that pretty clear? Okay, a couple things I did. I looked him in the eye and I said, please stop. What if he does it again? I tell him the same thing. When you do that, it offends me for the following reason. Please stop. And if he does it again, what am I going to do? I'll go to a supervisor at HR if he doesn't stop, right? I'm not going to slap him. He'd probably beat me up. You wouldn't beat me up, would you? Okay. All right, preventing harassment. Be careful with your humor. Think before you speak, Nicole. She said that earlier. That's why I was teasing her. Okay. Okay. Follow hands-off policy at work. Aside from the example we talked about, a handshake or maybe a fist dap or a hand on a shoulder, good job. Any other touching in the workplace okay? Probably not. How about hugging? Okay, let's say somebody gets a call, a family member just passed away. Would it be appropriate in that case to maybe give them a hug? Yes. If you give them a hug because it's Tuesday, probably not, right? Oh, and on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? No. Okay, so you know what the boundaries are. All right. You could be held personally responsible. True? True. Okay, harassment is about deciding to treat people respectfully or not. Are we all capable of doing that? Yes. Current events. This is what, 2 weeks ago? Sued by EEOC for pregnancy discrimination. Atlanta violated federal law by firing a newly hired licensed skincare therapist shortly after learning she was pregnant. Agency alleges that she had deceived the company by not disclosing her pregnancy during the interview. What? You're not required to do that. Okay, so what happens? Violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act as amended by the Pregnancy Discrimination Act. Pretty straightforward, right? Don't do that. Okay, click, come on. There we go. The 7th, what was that, last week? EEO sues for age and sex discrimination, Milwaukee. After hiring, a principal supervisor learned an employee had retired from a prior job. Owners began questioning his fitness for the job and making comments related to his age, and at least one of its owners made gender discriminatory comments, implying that females were more desirable as employees because they were more passive. How about that? Really? I don't make this stuff up. Okay, so violates Age Discrimination Employment Act, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. Questions on that one? How many people have ever retired from a job and come to work for Mohave County? Several people, right? So do you get treated differently because you've already retired once? I said, well, they've already retired once. Why do they even work here? They're old. They should just take their retirement leave, right? Blah, blah, blah. Well, that could be age discrimination. Okay, be real cautious. Here's another one. Last week, company to pay $50,000 in disability discrimination lawsuit in Minneapolis. Company violated Americans with Disabilities Act when it refused to allow an employee to return to work after he had a heart attack and instead fired him. The employee was released by his doctor, returned to work with no restrictions. When he contacted the company to let him know he was available to work, the employer did not allow him to return to work. The trial attorney in EEOC's Minneapolis area office who litigated the case added, an employer cannot refuse to allow an employee to return to work because he has had a heart attack and is perceived as disabled. Okay? So if somebody was injured and they've been cleared to return to work, you cannot perceive them as still being disabled. Okay? You cannot treat them differently because of that. Any questions on those? All right. Conclusion. I'm sorry, what? How do you mean? Right to work, but you still have due process, right? You still have due process? You can't just be terminated discriminately because you're too old or... Okay, I'm not sure I understand your question. Right to work state also allows you to quit with no notice, but it doesn't mean that you can be terminated without cause. Okay, especially when you've been employed there for a period of time. Let me go back. Is that the right one? Yes, but Mohave County is way over that limit. Yeah, it's like 15 employees or something. Yeah. All right, does that make sense? Okay, if I own my own business and I only had 6 employees, this probably would not apply to me. Mohave County, clearly it applies to them, right? Okay, and if you have questions, we can certainly discuss it afterward if you like. Okay, so big finale. Avoid harassment in the workplace by, come on clicker, don't fail me now. Respecting the work environment. Respecting all coworkers. Thinking before you speak. Any questions? Somebody's in a hurry. You got a lunch reservation or? Okay. Here's my contact information. If you need to get in touch with me, there's my phone number and email address. I will get back to you even if it's not the same day. So give me a little leeway there. I have business cards up here if you'd like to take one or just take the information off the screen there. Any questions? Was it a good time? Good times. Okay, and the next class, the Performance Management Communication HR Pitfall, starts at 1:30 for the people that are coming back to that. All right? Other than that, be safe. Here in this room, yes. Be safe. Thanks for being here. Take care.